The 2023-24 Indian football domestic season is almost upon us, and there's plenty of excitement that is surrounding the sport and really fans among the sport in India. Of course, a lot of that comes down to the fact that India did really well, not just in the SAF Cup to win their 9th title, but also, of course, the Hero Tri-Nations Cup or the Intercontinental Cup that was played. And thereafter, the Indian football team has been playing some really good football. You can see that really translate on the field. But obviously, there's plenty of, let's say, hype surrounding the Indian football domestic scene as well, or more importantly, what we refer to as club football. That is, of course, because you're seeing a lot of talent currently develop in the domestic football league. What's more, you're also seeing a lot of exciting coaches come to India and actually look to weave their magic across multiple clubs. But beyond just that, it's also a time where you can see a pathway towards sustainability in the league, and you're seeing a lot of these clubs become more professional in the way they run. And one of the things that is giving football fans a lot of hope for the future is, of course, the fact that the upcoming, or rather the Indian Super League, the ISL, is becoming bigger, it's becoming more professionally run. And that could also potentially mean a bigger windfall from broadcast revenue. How so? That's what we're going to be talking about in this particular video. And so, without any further ado, let's get straight to it. The first thing that we have to remember is that the ISL, which was of course started in conjunction with Star Sports, was in fact always shown on Star Sports from its inception time. However, that deal has now in fact come to an end. In fact, the ISL has put out a tender for the media rights, and this tender is going to include both the digital and media broadcast rights for the league, and will run for about a period of 2 years, and that's at least the initial period. Most interestingly, it also includes national team games. Now, these national team games will be home fixtures that will be not just qualifiers for the AFC Asian Cup, but also the FIFA World Cup. So there's plenty of matches to go around as well, and it's interesting to note that it's being sold as some sort of a package deal. But then you have to also remember that the people who run the ISL, which is Football Sports Development Limited, they're a subsidiary of Reliance, and Reliance and FSDL had also signed a marketing agreement of sorts with the AIFF. So in a way, it does kind of make sense that they're using the national football team to kind of increase or boost the let's say value of the ISL domestic rights, and also give, let's say, prospective buyers of the domestic rights more bang for buck. That's an interesting approach. And it also, of course, will ensure that, let's say, the new broadcast home, whoever that may be, and we'll be coming to that in just a bit, is actually shelling out more money. So the thing is, you're going to be having a new home for Indian football. As I mentioned earlier, Star Sports were at one point the joint owners of the ISL, but their broadcast deal ran for 9 years, which was a 5 + 4 years agreement. Of course, that agreement has now come to an end, which is exactly why there has been a tender that has been put out by the ISL. In fact, the likeliness is that Sports 18, which is of course a newly launched sports channel that is in fact operated by the same people who own FSDL, that's Reliance, will be the ones who land the broadcast rights. Now, why is this a good move in many ways? Is because it's always good that you have competition, because truth be told, clubs will be the ones that benefit the most from said competition, and in fact the sport as a whole. But also, more importantly, if Star Sports 18 ends up paying more for the broadcast rights than what Star were, there's a better chance that you'll see a lot more of that money filter down to the clubs. In today's day and age, one of the biggest money earners for any sports team is not merely the revenue that you get from ticket sales, but more importantly from broadcast rights. If you're an Indian football fan, you'd be wanting the ISL to fetch a mega fee in terms of the broadcast rights, because then that money will filter down to the other clubs depending on of course, the kind of money that they generate, how many matches are on TV, where they finish in the league, all of these kind of things. But more importantly, you will see a lot of these clubs start bringing in more money and increase the amount of revenue they're able to generate. That, of course, can only happen once they get a better deal in terms of broadcast. So if you're an Indian football fan, you'd hope that this new media rights tender that has been put out does in fact lead to a windfall for these clubs, thus making it more lucrative to play in the ISL, and thus making it even better for teams that get promoted from the I League to actually, it gives them more of an incentive, which is how the footballing ecosystem the world over is run. and it's good to see that India are reaching a similar state as well. Now that of course is my opinion on this entire matter. I do think that this will be a good move, that if the ISL can get a big, let's say, a bump in the kind of payments they bring in, it will only benefit Indian football. What is your thoughts on the ISL's new media tender? You can let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap the bell icon, leave us a comment, follow us on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the AajTak app. And also, if you're already on the channel, go ahead and check out some other videos that we've done. But for now, from my side, it's goodbye.